Welcome back to the action for the final time tonight. Last 32 coverage of the World Masters. Declan Brennan takes on Shaun Storry. Declan Brennan, the defending champion after his win in this tournament in Morocco this time last year. A tough last 32 draw. All the rounds from the last 64 onwards being randomly drawn out, so the players only found out that they were playing each other 10 minutes ago. Doesn't exactly change anything, of course. Knew they were going to be in for a tough match either way, but this is a pretty tough one for both of these two players. Mark Shepherd and Nick Finn with you for this one. And it looks like it could be a gripping last match of the night, Nick.
Yeah, definitely. I was with Shaun when they ran up the draw. He's had some tough ones. He's got, I think he's got Tom in the World Championships. So Declan in this one, Tom in the other. But as I say, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. So if you win those games, you put yourself in a great shape to take down these titles. Shaun has been playing really good pool. Obviously recently lost a final to Top Cat, but he did say that he's feeling great about his game, putting in a lot of practice on the home table and striking the cue ball well, but also a man been finding a lot of form recently is Declan Brennan. He's been going close as well. Very good matchup.
And both of these players are the kind that want to beat the best in the world. Neither of them would be wanting an easy draw. I mean, they'd probably rather play the draw in a different order and have this as a match later on, ideally. But they know they're going to have to beat everybody to win this title. An added spice, of course, being the defending champion. You want to go and give a good showing the following year. Last match of the night on the stream, and will be the last match for both of the players. The whole of the last 32 is being played. 2 matches on these main arena tables. Over on table 2, Rab McCulloch and Dom Cooney, and the other 14 matches on the outside tables. And we'll resume last 16 coverage tomorrow, playing down to a final tomorrow night. Steady start so far from Declan. Still in good shape here. Looks very purposeful around the table.
The latest draw table 27. This is in the Masters plate.
As we mentioned in the last match, this is a random draw. The draw was announced about 10 or 15 minutes ago. Obviously to that point the players didn't know who they were going to be up against. And it's popped up. Some more tough ones. Stevie Dempsey, Shaun Sharkey playing each other over in the Queen's Room. I just had a quick glance at that table 5-10 minutes ago. Sharkey's just edged ahead. He's on the hill against Dempsey, 6-5 up. Zach Shepherd's beaten Lee Kendall 7-3. The last 32, we saw Dylan Leary moments ago in his match, putting on a great performance. He's now playing Will Osborne. Zach Shepherd straight back on against Wayne Pace. He's trailing 1-0. All the games just getting underway. Most of them are 0-0. One game that isn't 0-0. Jordan Shepherd 2-0 up against Gary Cart. Jordan flying this weekend.
So the first frame cleared off Declan's break. Shaun's first opportunity at the table. Close look at the pack. I think he just wants to make sure that it is lined up dead straight. It does look to be from our angle. So it looks like he's going for the cut break. A very powerful cut break. It's A long time practicing just to see how hard he can hit it before the cue ball bounces off the table. See tremendous pace there. Great result though, the ball's driving over towards the right hand side of the table, nothing finding a pocket. Just became briefly airborne. It's very important that you don't get it too airborne if you're playing a cut break, because the cue ball's naturally driving over to the side of the table. And it's not on the bed of the table at the point it hits the side cushion, it can end up on the floor. I suppose the one saving grace there is if you're going to come up dry, you want to leave as messy a layout as possible. I mean, this could change pretty quickly. It wouldn't necessarily take that much to open up the balls on the right hand side, but at the moment a couple of clusters formed.
Yeah, it looks like he's forced to go yellows here. I don't think he's got an opener on reds. Maybe just the one below the bulk line, but paying it no heed. Yellows it is. Maybe trying to leave an angle here to screw back into the problem. If he screws back into the gap of the two reds, he'd be very unlucky not to be on something. He's looking now, maybe looking at screwing into that red half ball and then coming up and canning into the yellow, or just maybe even just moving it aside. Yeah, that does the job. I mean, it opens it up. Still a bit tricky.
Yeah, I couldn't afford to get too greedy with that. It wasn't going to be easy to get a perfect result. Just wanted to try and leave himself some kind of shot. Feels like this is almost the end of the preliminary rounds of this competition. Past the actual technical preliminary round, but still a lot of players in the draw. Once you get through to this Sunday, you feel like you're not so far away from the trophy. 16 men are going to find their way through to tomorrow morning's resumption. Well, almost went wrong. I think he's nudged the 8 ball far enough. He can now see the ball at the top of the table. It's not quite as played.
No. No. May take the thin cut here. Maybe a bit too thin. Yeah, doesn't like it. Quite a lot of angle here. May just be able to go cushion and then just into the back of the top yellow, just to bump it out and leave himself on the other one. Might just have too much angle to do that though. May elect to come down and cannon the red and leave himself on the one to middle. Just depends on the angle, the way he sees it. Yeah, just rolls down on top of that red, just uses it as a guide. Now he's on the one to middle.
It's not the safer way of playing that shot. If you play the cannon, not quite sure where both balls are going to end up. He's going to play quite a delicate one here because it's a fairly acute angle, plus he doesn't want the white to end up too close to that yellow, so think about where the cue ball's going. Good delicate shot that.
Yeah, comfortable enough. It should be simple.
Considerably more difficult clearance than the first one, but it's taken these nicely. There's a chance of Shaun's break, so it will be Declan to break in frame 3. One-way traffic at the moment in the early going of this match. Can't read too much into that. Shaun's just had the one dry break, an indication as to how he's playing. Declan playing a lot of pool this week in the main World Championship draw and in the team competition as well, of course. Kind of helps in a way when you're playing in a lot of different events, I guess. Slightly different formats, but helps you keep warmed up. You don't really need to be doing too much additional practice. 42 tables in the venue, but not very easy to get time for a practice game. Got to stay up pretty late if you want to get onto the practice table. All the tables very well utilised during the day, particularly over the course of this weekend when we've got the men's and ladies masters competitions in addition to the various World Championship events. Saw the opening ceremony earlier for the over 60s and the junior World Championship, so a few more tournaments to get underway.
What a break from Declan Brennan.
That is very pure and very hard.
Tremendous power. Gave that the kitchen sink. Could have had an easier layout. It's not too bad though. He'd love to go yellows. Don't think he's on one. If he can get through past this yellow to the one to middle, then he's fine. He's obviously got the red to bottom right, but the two reds on the left-hand side cushion, they're a bit smelly. You can't do anything to open them up. They don't double. It's not a plant. It's not really a makeable plant either. I mean, you could make it into cushion first, but that's tough. So he would love to go yellows. He's looking again to see whether he can get past.
Still waiting for Cash Bavin, please.
No. Reds it is.
Bavin on table 23 in the Lancaster.
That is no good.
A couple of rolls shorter and that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
He could have taken the ball, the top one of the two reds to the top left, while he still had the ball over the bottom corner, so that would have been a kind of saviour for position. As it is, he's able to see the ball over the pocket, but that doesn't really help him very much. So now he is having to look at whether some kind of shot can be manufactured.
I wonder if he's looking to play the red, the first red, almost into the cushion, and if he's got the angle to push the red across onto the yellow and kind of play it off the yellow, but I'm not even sure that's there. I don't think it is. He's overhit that one by a fraction as well. I think he wanted to be on the one at the bottom of the table. He's left it a lot thinner. And he's left it so thin that he could actually, he's got an angle to pot it and develop the two reds. He's looking at this plant again. I think that's what he's looking at, you know, playing it almost into, as I say, got to hit that red, that second red into the yellow. That's what he was looking for. Didn't get the connection. That was high tariff. Very tough shot.
Yeah, it was just a really unnatural shot. It was just kind of hard to pick the right angle out. That was a real last resort. It did feel like maybe he could have clipped the ball along the bottom rail and tried to get into the cluster, but that was also a high tariff shot.
It was, but I'm still not sure that wasn't the right shot. You know, he didn't seem to consider it. Maybe it was a bit thinner than we thought, but it looked like it was makeable, and the cue ball was kind of a fairly natural line up into that area. It was always going to be a bit hopeful from where he was.
First chance at open play for Shaun. All he's done so far is have one dry break. Not a bad first chance this either. Always easier to be in second.
Kevin Malia,
Balls are pretty well spread out.
Kevin Malia, table 24.
Nervous moment there as he nudged the 8-ball towards the right centre. I think this is still okay. It may actually help because the ball that he's looking to play now, the one directly below the 8-ball, would have been pretty acute into the middle pocket. Now he can play it slightly thicker in off the 8-ball if he wants to. The 8-ball's not so close to the pocket that this is an unmissable shot, but it's certainly a makeable one. And that's come out pretty nice. It's not actually the worst thing that he's hustled the 8-ball up to the top of the table, because all the other balls are up there, so it's moving the cue ball around too much. Good chance this, wants to get straight back into this match. 3-0's getting a bit too far behind. If he can just get it back to 2-1, then be his break next. Chance to get things level back up again. shot, just trying to kill the pace of the cue ball. A couple of options here. He can take the ball long to the bottom left-hand corner or cut the ball to the right centre.
Quite like the one to bottom left corner while he's on it.
He's on it with a nice angle as well, because he can play for a choice of the other two yellows.
He's just looking now to see if he could dig into that one and just stun across the face of the yellow to leave it into the top right, but didn't feel the angle was there.
He's run out of time, having spent all that time weighing up those two options.
Yeah.
He used his extension already, and still the shot clock counting down behind him.
That was the key to the frame, though. That long ball, you get that one and you're away.
In fact, it was close to an unmissable pot for a player of his quality. Meant that it wasn't a particularly risky one to take on. As you say, it afforded the easier position. So it's been a very good start from both players. Shaun frozen away from the table for a couple of frames. First visit in open play gets the job done. 2-1 now to Declan Brennan. Used to seeing him in his trademark white autopilot shirt. Looks like he's debuting a new shirt for this tournament. Still retaining the autopilot nickname though. With that frame win, looks to have relaxed into it, seems to be enjoying himself out in the arena. He's one of the players that's had the most match experience out in the main arena. As soon as he heard himself be called out against Declan Brennan, whilst that would have been disappointing, he'll have known that he was far more likely to get selected for being the streamed game than if he'd been playing a lower ranked opponent. So persevering with the power cut break. This last break we saw the cue ball just lift slightly off the bed of the table, so when it hit the side cushion it wasn't completely flat to the bed, but it was low enough that it stayed on the table.
Yeah, you've got to play this shot with a lot of screw to keep that cue ball on the bed of the table. Any kind of top spin and it's gone. Plays it with immense power. It's amazing how you get that much power. I mean, try that at home, try that at the local club. Whenever I play a shot like that, that cue ball's flying across the room. You play it with that kind of power. You really do have to dig down and deep screw that cue ball. Bit of a wry look at the table, bit of a puff of the cheeks, but it's not all that bad. It's not all that bad.
Red's the choice. He's just got the ball to the right of the 8 ball. He's going to try and retrieve from where it is, which has gone straight after.
Oh, he's landed plumb. That couldn't have come out any better, I don't think. I mean, okay, it's just slightly hampered, but it's just a drop into middle. The cue ball just runs up table and leaves the other one to middle. That could have come out a lot worse.
So now landed on the next remaining most difficult ball, which is the one down the table to the bottom left-hand corner. Doesn't have to go after it now, but has landed reasonably well on it.
Yeah, I think that's a shot for me because it doesn't have to do too much with the cue ball. Can just stun through the gap of yellow and 8 ball, and he's got a red to middle waiting for him. I guess you've got to question whether you can get any better on this red. Definitely
yeah, sometimes that's the way to look at it, isn't it? If you're on it as well as you're ever going to, and it's the shot that opens the frame up, why aren't you going for it? Meanwhile, over on the other side of the arena, that ball you just heard dropping was the 8-ball, and the 5th 8-ball that Rab McCulloch has potted. He's now 5-0 up on Dom Cooney. Not a result that many would have seen coming.
Fabulous players, Rab. I mean, he's already making waves in that Challenger Series. He just seems to have found his game this season. He's always been a great player, but he's had some great results and deep runs in the Challenger. Already lifted a trophy. Of course, we're going to see him as a pro next season, and he really is a super player. Fast, attacking, great to watch, and a player who will grace the pro ranks.
Yeah, I mean, Dom Cooney is a pretty decent pro himself. That's a good yardstick to measure yourself against. 5-0 up there.
Nice little kiss. The fact that it didn't drop probably helps. Just means he can take the pick, really. I mean, just depends which one you fancy for getting to the 8-ball. He'll probably take the one over the pocket now, just because the position from the one at the top of the table is just a bit easier, and he can get nice and close to it as well. Pick your line. Screw straight back. Didn't want to finish straight. Probably could have just done with coming up the table. Another 4 or 5 inches would have left a nice angle to come one cushion and across. He can still do it. He's still got a bit of an angle, but he's really going to have to punch this now. If there was another couple of rolls up the table, this would have been simple. Look at him punching with left hand side off that side cushion. Lovely.
Made to look easy, but very small margin of error. When you try to force that much angle, if you just catch the cue ball slightly thinner or thicker than you're expecting, you can end up wildly different in terms of outcome. Well, so it's been some standard so far. Shaun frozen away from the table for the first couple of frames. Now he's had his chances. 4 frames played, 2 frames apiece.
Yeah. Nothing between the two. I expect it to stay close all the way. Don't really see the player getting away from the other.
It's one of those matches where it's going to come down to chances. They're both very clinical when they get their chances. If your break's not working, maybe that's the thing that keeps you away from the table for a spell. Declan to break in frame 5. Still breaking pretty well based on what we've seen so far in this match. Winding up the power. You just tell by the noise just how hard and how clean he's hit that.
Oh, first look at the table. The reds look okay. Don't know if he's got an opener. May have the gap between these 2 yellows as an opener. The yellows are a bit ugly. The 8-ball's a bit of a mess. If you're going to attack from here, I think it probably has to be reds. I'm pretty sure he's got the gap between the 2 yellows to give himself the opener. Don't know how you attack here on yellows.
Yeah, he's going to leave himself a lot to do if he pots this ball. So he's going to have to play either the combination shot, or if he can just get one of the yellows round cushion first and off the red, open that pocket up. Balls aren't sat great for a combination shot. Could play the loss of turn where he pots the bottom one of the 2 yellows and runs the cue ball forward. Pot the red, just try and leave Shaun without a shot. The loss of turn it was. Those just weren't sat great for a combination shot, and frankly, continuing with that clearance wasn't great either. Well, with that pattern of a couple of shots, this has actually really changed this frame, because it looked like only the reds could be realistically cleared up before, whereas now Shaun's in a bit of trouble. If he doesn't make a good contact, could leave Declan in for the clearance. Really digging down here. He's going to have to swerve the ball a lot. Is he going to make a cushion?
No, he hasn't. It's a foul. Ball in hand. And that's curtains, I think, because Declan can place the ball anywhere he wants to get that yellow out, the 8-ball out. I guess the only problem here is when you're attacking it from above, you're almost certain to push it. Well, you have to push it down table, and he's going to play it off the 8. This should open up everything. Still a problem.
Bit to think about now for Declan. A moment ago it looked like he had this frame at his mercy. Now he's got 2 balls in awkward positions. Not as easy to play a containing shot either.
Yeah, it's not an easy ball to develop because it's got the 8-ball below, the red ball above.
So the match we call table 16, Gilmore, Scaluna, and David Irving. Just stand down.
I think he's going to try and leave an angle on the one to middle. That's not it. He's in a bit of no man's land here. He's obviously got the ball to middle, but no angle whatsoever. He's looking at a thin cut, maybe. Oh, this is skinny. Makes a contact with the 8-ball. Well, he's given himself a chance now to double that yellow. It's not bad. He can take the one just above the bulk line. He's looking at this one down the rail, but hamper queuing. I wouldn't fancy trying to get position on the one in bulk. After this, it looks like he's going to play this and screw across to the right hand side of the table. Needs to cue this well. Queuing over a ball.
Table 36 in the Royal, playing Castelli, Shaun, Sharp.
Well, he is on the double, but again he's jacking the cue up. Every shot getting tougher and tougher. It's a big Rab McCulloch there in the background, just he's playing across on the next table. Oh, this is a tough double. If he gets it, he wins the frame. Tough one there.
Kind of backed into that clearance. It wasn't really an ideal one to have to chase after, but once he'd started, got a bit committed.
Great chance here for Storry to go in front for the first time. He trailed by 2. If he can make this clearance, that's 3 in a row.
Pretty happy to be in this position. It didn't necessarily look like he was going to get this chance. That well, it's left himself a choice of a few different options now.
Right, Silas Jackson from Australia in the Junior Masters. You haven't got a game, your opponent's not coming, so Silas Jackson, you're through to the next round.
Ball to the left of the cue ball now is probably going to be the most difficult of the three to get nicely onto. Storry's decided to come over for it now, to swing all the way around the table.
Yeah, has a choice of either. I think he'll play the one to top left. He's come to a position where he could take either ball. You take the one to top right and just screw across the face of the red. It's just whatever he feels easier to get onto the 8 ball. If he takes the one to top left, he can go top cushion, side cushion, and back around for the red to top right. I think the red to the right hand side is easier to get on the 8. It's a fairly natural line. Shaun's seen it differently. He's going to screw across the face of the red by the looks of it. Yeah, just looking at where he wants to be. Just come low and then screw off the side cushion and back out for the 8. Don't think he's even considered the shot I mentioned, but I think the line's there.
Maybe partly he was very focused on landing on the ball on the right hand side, which is why he played the previous positional shot. I guess it's just top of his mind that was the one he wanted to be on.
Yeah, that's okay though.
Yeah, the key thing there was to end up low. You didn't want an angle that was coming down the table, to make sure he's got the ability to get up towards the 8 ball.
And with this shot, you play it with the opposite side, the side you think. So he's going to play it with a touch of. It's hitting at centre ball, but touch his side, yeah, a little bit of left-hand side he's gone now, and it's just going to bring it off the side cushion and come up table like that. You saw the cue ball spin off that side cushion and just comes up. The natural line would have taken it just a little bit lower than that. So you just had a little bit of reverse side and helps the cue ball up the table.
Good clearance in the end. Needed 2 chances in that frame. The second time of asking, he was equal to the job. Having been 2-0 down, Shaun Storry now finds himself 3-2 up. Shaun coming around again to look at the alignment of the pack. The way the tables are marked out now, there is that racking line that goes down the centre of the table, so the referee has a good guide. It used to be in years gone by that when you were just racking with a plastic triangle and just the spot for the 8 ball, it was sometimes possible to get slightly misaligned, but normally that's not an issue now. Important because he's got a very specific break. He's really practiced this cut break, so he wants to make sure the balls are racked perfectly. Let's take another look at that break. Thunderous break. Both of the players are just hitting the pack so hard. Very different breaks. Declan going straight into the front ball. Shaun going for the second ball down. Yielding great results so far. If he'll be tempted to switch back to the front ball break. This time he's come up dry. He's left quite a good split. Earlier on in the match he had a dry break where a lot of the balls had driven over to the right hand side cushion and left Declan with a lot more to do. There's still a bit of manoeuvring in the middle of the table because the way these balls are placed, the yellows, you need to take them in the right order Every time you pot one, you're effectively freeing up the path to the next one. Doesn't really matter whether he takes the ball. He can take the ball over the top left-hand corner first if he wants to, if he gets slightly better position. If he doesn't need to, he's probably going to be happy to leave it there. Potentially gives him a way out if he slips out of position later on.
Table 28 in the Lancaster.
Maybe that looked like one of the easier balls on the table. That's quite a useful one to get out of the way because it's now opened up the pocket for the next yellow to go into the same pocket. Obviously not off this shot, but can come back for that one. Landed nicely on the ball bottom left. I don't think the ball in the middle of the table goes through the gap of red and yellow. Maybe does just squeeze through, but it would be very tight. Not may have to reroute up the table. Over on the other side of the arena, Rad McCulloch has completed a 7-1 victory over Dom Cooney. Pretty quick time as well then. He started just slightly before this match. These two have been playing at a decent pace, but in the time that they've played these 5 frames, Rad McCulloch 8 frames completed over the other side. Gets himself into the last 16 draw. Of course, none of these players know who they're playing next. It's just a case of getting into that draw, and then the random draw will happen.
Tom Cousins still carving his way through. He's 6-1 up against Ross Dunn from similar neck of the woods. 2 Welsh teammates. And in fact, he's just won that 7 frames to 1. Just bumped into Jordan Shepherd outside in the bathroom, and he's 4-all with Gary Carr. Said he was struggling with the table a little bit. Played a lot of his matches in the arena, so to make it tricky when you head back out into the side rooms. John McAllister 3-0 up against Aaron Davis. Jake McCartney 5-2 up against Blair Kirkcaldy, 2 Australian teammates. Clayton Custody just about to get underway against Shaun Sharkey. Shaun Sharkey having beaten who did he beat? Declan no. Stevie Dempsey, sorry. Name clean went out of my head for a second. That was a heel game. Shaun Sharkey comes from that 7 frames to 6.
So, ball successfully racked up. 3 frames apiece. Declan with the first chance to go ahead again. Slips up to breaking frame 7. This break has been something to watch. The last 3 that we've seen in this match has crunched the front ball.
More of the same. Reds.
He's always had a good break, but today it just feels like he's just getting that real precision on the front ball. Just seems to have that little bit extra on it.
Yeah. Well, I say reds, and then you look at the red on the top left, which causes a problem. Problems for yellows too. Yellow just above the middle pocket. I think, yeah, he's looking now. I think it goes in off the red. It's one of those, if you hit it hard, it'll square it up, and I think it will go in off the red. If he decides that'll go in, then I think he may go yellows. Yeah, looking at that one at the bottom of the table as well. I mean, that's that one at the, yeah, it needs to be yellows, doesn't it? The one at the bottom of the table, he could land below it and play it into the middle. he's not. He's thought he had the line there where he could have just floated across the table, just landed below it and played it to right centre, but he's going to take the combination shot, yellow onto red, try and pot them both.
A bit of distance between balls and between the red and the pocket if he plays this.
Yeah. It's not a gimme. These players play those shots so well. I was at home a few weeks ago trying to play the shot, and I mean, these guys are getting them, 10 out of 10 almost, and I was lucky to get 2 out of 10. There's a real knack to how you play it. It's not quite a screw shot. It's almost a stun shot. But you've got to follow through. That's the key. Just to get the action on the cue ball to run it through.
So the thing about the way he had to play that as well was that he was always going to be leaving Shaun well in amongst the reds if he missed.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was playing it as any kind of shot to nothing.
Yeah, real pressure on it. So the red is below the pocket, but you're going to see him play this, I think, with a bit of pace. It's one of those you need to play it with pace to square the yellow up. Yeah, there you go. If you play that gently, then the yellow just probably leaks to the bottom knuckle. If you're playing with pace, they square. Just come a lot higher. I mean, he definitely wanted to come high of the middle pocket just because he didn't want to bring the middle pocket into play. But he didn't want to finish this high. It's still okay, he can just roll on and off the bottom cushion. Should be plain sailing, but yeah, a bit betwixt and between. I think he's either just short of pace for the top right, or just picked the wrong line for the top left. It's going to be top right.
We've seen some good clearances in this match. Both players have had to work for it. Had a few decent chances, but it feels like all of them have just had some level of intricacy that they've had to do something with. So players back in the arena. Shaun Storry breaks off in frame 8. I don't think that was his best effort. Didn't seem to get quite the desired contact on the ball. That's why he's lost the cue ball a bit towards the bottom left corner. Ball down there at least, which is the main thing.
If you can find an opening on yellows, they're not actually that bad. I mean, he's got the yellow and red tied up to the top right, but if you can find some kind of cannon on that.
Well, he could play it here. He could cut this ball into the bottom right and take the white straight up there, but
he's not going to
not
attack.
tempted.
No, just playing a containing shot.
Still none the wiser on the outcome of this match. It's been very nip and tuck the whole way through. Still an open table, so players can go for either colour. Declan's options obviously a bit limited here. You can see the red over the right centre, but the fact that he hasn't played that suggests that he's not terribly interested in ending up on the reds. Well, it's not a terrible option to go for something attacking, because he could find his way into the two balls over the top right corner. Well, in fact, he could find a way through to a yellow, so I don't know if that's... Well, in fact, I've got to assume that wasn't how he played it, because he's played it as a kind of shot to nothing and screwed the cue ball back, so really just playing that as a safety shot and potted the ball as a byproduct of that. If he was sure of making that ball to the middle, he'd have played a completely different position.
Yeah, needs to be careful here as well, because the reds are pretty decent. I mean, if he can make this pot, the cue ball's going to track across towards that cannon I was mentioning earlier. Oh, he's lost the cue ball. Is it going to drop? No. Is he on the yellow? Through the gap to middle. And he's still got problems if he is, but it's a bonus if he can see that yellow. I mean, that cue ball perilously close to going in off. Really lucky for it not to drop. So often you see those drop in.
Yeah, he's got himself into a bit of a mess here, because even if he can see that ball, he's got problems.
Surely he's not going here, is he? Cutting this down the rail? No. Did he hit a cushion?
Yeah, I think the cue ball just nudged into the cushion, which is just as well, because he definitely didn't want to be giving away ball in hand.
There's no questions. So clearly did. It's actually a well played shot, because he could have easily just leaped another half an inch and Shaun would have had a red to the left centre. Can he get through anyway? He can, you know. Didn't think he could see this. Delicate shot. But if he gets it, the reds are there. That's in. And Shaun's in. Definitely not an easy clearance. I mean, the reds are strewn across the table. 3 or 4 of them close to cushions. They'll be happy to get the chance. One that you feel he needs to take as well. Get back to 4 each, keep the pressure.
Starting to get to the business end of the match now, so every frame is even more important. It all came about because Declan just got himself into trouble once the cue ball ended up in that corner. It was lucky it didn't go in, but it was never going to be easy to play a good safety shot.
Doesn't need to do too much here. Bring the cue ball out, chase the right hand side. leave it in bulk for the one to top left. Just leave an angle. Well, he's got a lovely angle to knock the red out. He could also land on it, but I think we'll see him knock it out. If he doesn't land on the ball, he gets out. He'll still be on the one down the rail. So I think there's value in trying to move it. No, just elected to run past it, backing himself to make both of these balls up the rail, down the rail. A couple of tough shots incoming.
The difficult one is landing on the ball on the right hand side. See him just coming around to think about where he'd need to leave the cue ball. He's not going to be able to leave an easy shot on it.
Yeah, he's got the angle on this red to bottom left now that he may just try and get across on it now, because it's hard to take the one to top left and leave that big angle again. So he is. He's going to come. You're going to see him come. I think we're going to see him come below. There's a few options here actually. Yeah, he did indeed. That's a nice angle now. Just a stun across table. Take this to middle. Can just side and just a little bit of stun. Actually, the cue ball probably naturally tracks across there with a bit of side.
He's got to commit to this pot. If he was just trying to pot it and hold for the 8 ball, he'd just roll it in dead weight. But he's going to have to dig into it a bit more to get good position on the other red.
Yeah, I think it's comfortable enough. Just needs to find the heart of the pocket. Doesn't want to catch that front knuckle, otherwise it gives it no chance. Doesn't need to hit it too hard. Let the cue ball do the work. Beautiful. Oh, tracking towards that middle pocket. He definitely didn't play to get that close, but it's safe. It's half a roll from going in. And landed perfectly on the red.
Yeah, it's turned out nice this. You can see from that angle he hasn't got a load of angle to get the cue ball back out, but he can screw back towards where it is now for the 8 ball.
Yeah, probably just above the middle pocket. He won't mind being on the cushion as long as he's fairly straight. Oh, he could come away. He could.
He's played a good shot there. He had very little angle to work with.
It looked straighter than that, didn't it? I didn't think he could get anywhere near that far away from the cushion.
Well, yet again, another good clearance. It was one that was there for the taking, but still needed a bit of work. It's like the last 3 or 4 clearances have all been the same. There's just needs 1 or 2 difficult shots in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely, and just came from that. I mean, if you can call it an error, the one from Declan where he tried to play a little containing shot and ended up potting the ball, and then really forced into a tough shot. It just went wrong. Race to 3 now. Anyone's game, all to play for between Declan, the destroyer, and Shaun, the autopilot. You feel this is a big break for Dec. He wants to retain control. The advantage is with him as he won the lag. Huge break. I mean, when you get that kind of power, it's almost inevitable that you're going to pot something. He makes a red. That red got kicked into the top left. Otherwise, it was going to be a dry break. There was nothing else going in. That ball was going nowhere. Came back, got kicked in. I think probably yellows would be my choice. It really comes down to whether the red at the top of the table passes the yellow. If it does, then it could go reds, but yellows the easier set for me.
Quite a pretty decent first shot there. This is a good ball to get out of the way, the one to the left centre.
Playing with a lot of left-hand side. Just checks the cue ball off the cushion and keeps it low.
Key with that kind of shot is not to play it too hard. You see people just loading up with side and playing harder and harder to get the side on, but in reality it just throws wide and never really has a chance to take effect.
Anywhere straight or just off straight will be absolutely fine, because he can just top through. He's got the one to the right centre next.
It's quite straight on the ball to the right centre.
Yeah.
It's quite got the angle now.
Absolutely. A couple of inches lower. It's a simple stun through the gap. Now he needs to find something here. I think he can still create the angle. He can still stun up, but the red that's below the yellow it plays huge. It plays absolutely huge. That's why you want the angle, because then you can use the top cushion. Trying to use the top cushion here, you really have to force it. So much so, he just chose to the deep screw come back at the table, and that's not ideal. It's just low. if that cannon hits the red half ball and he comes up the table another couple of inches, it's pretty simple. But now with this angle, he's going into the red. Unless he can just screw past it, it's going to be a deep screw shot. Going to see this cue ball zip. It's no good. How it comes unravelled.
Yeah, it's just again over a course of a couple of shots. If he was able to just get the cue ball tight on the baulk cushion, then he could have had a natural angle to come down the table from the previous shot. Instead of that, he's had to force it. And now you can see the frustration.
It's the finest of margins as well, Mark. I mean, he just finishes slightly low, and the natural angle is taking him towards the cannon on the red, and if he gets that, he's in no man's land. So he has to play the deep screw past the red with reverse side to bring the cue ball down the table, and then just overcooks it. And now he has no shot. It can unravel so easy. You think someone's in complete control of the table, and then suddenly just one bad roll and it's done. Shaun Storry at the table again. He's got the red. It's bottom right. A nice angle. Cue ball probably just above the right centre pocket. Use one cushion to get to the top of the table.
Extension called.
You could stun straight up table. I think the 8 ball's probably in the way, so he probably uses the side cushion.
This match has been underway for coming up to an hour now. 8 frames completed. Been a load of tactical stuff, but just a few fiddly little situations have turned out. It's been a pattern of the last couple of frames where Declan's been in first. Good chance this for Shaun to get ahead in the match.
Both players, of course, still in both competitions as well.
Yeah, the main World Championship draw down to the last 32 stage. Action there resumes tomorrow. And of course, we're really nearing the business end of the World Championships as a whole, playing down to a final on Thursday.
As mentioned earlier on, Shaun Storry will have a match tomorrow morning against Tom Cousins. Declan Brennan will play the ultimate pool pro from Australia, Paul Clack.
Normally Paul Clack and on occasion Jake McCartney, the only representatives from Australia. But obviously, pretty big Australian crowd in this weekend. The Australians are always great at sending over a team. It's such a long way to come for this tournament. Main teams plus also juniors and seniors, so pretty big Aussie contingent. That was a good shot. Had to really dig down there. Just had a little bit more angle than he wanted, but just able to hold the cue ball, stay in prime position. And this has been good from Shaun Storry. He was 2-0 behind in this match. He's had to kind of fight his way the whole way through it to stay in touch. Now he's got the chance to go ahead by the odd frame at an important moment in the match. 5-4 now to the man on the right of your screen. Race to 7, so potential 4 frames yet to be played.
Don't forget, all the action comes back tomorrow morning from 10:45 when we're here with the last 32 of the Men's World Championships. Clayton Custodi will play Murad Iqbal. Giuseppe D'Imperio will play Peter Mullaney. Richard Gifford will play Andy Barnett. Robert Brady will play Gary Southern. Chris Melling versus Matthew Ryle. Christy Colefield versus Shaun Sharkey. Rab McCulloch against Joshua Traynor. Rab will be flying after tonight's performance as well. Gary Clark against Carl Sutton. Dylan Leary against Amr Riyad Abdelati. Paul Clack versus Declan Brennan. Jean-Michel José versus Greg Batten. Roy Caruana against Ronan McCarthy. Jordan Shepherd against Darren Davis. Victor Labar against Callum Singleton. Ashley Davis against Rob Warren. Shaun Storry against Tom Cousins. That's the last 32 lineup tomorrow morning. All those matches in play from 10:45.
Nice situation for the players involved in both tournaments still. Logistically potentially complicated because they're going to be playing a lot of pool tomorrow, but that's generally a good problem to have. It means you're still batting in multiple tournaments. This break's going to require a bit of work. Normally one of the strongest parts of Shaun's game, but yielding too much right now.
Shaun Sharkey's flying now. He's beaten. He won that game earlier. And, he's playing against Clayton Custodi now. 5-0 up after that win against Dempsey. John McAllister 4-1 up against Darren Davis. Jake McCartney through against his teammate Blair Kirkcaldy. Jordan Shepherd 6 each against Gary Carr. Eddie Barker 4-1 against Carl Sutton.
Works out too badly. He's landed on the ball just immediately to the left of the 8 ball. It's just space to sneak it past the 2 reds bottom right. Depending on how straight he is, he may just be able to screw straight back. Ball to the left of the table goes to the bottom left hand corner. Alternatively, you can just go completely the other way around, go over to the right centre, bottom right, and then come back for the ball that's to the left of the 8 ball in the left centre. So that is the option. Nicely on the ball bottom right. Just a case of landing on the ball to the left of the 8 ball in a favourable way that he can get to the other red that's over that side.
He's looking for a thinner contact on the 8 ball. If he cannons the 8 half ball, he's on this one to bottom left. Now he has to play a good positional shot, or has to take the tough cut. Can't take the tough cut because the cue ball's going to be tracking.
That's slightly unlucky actually. You almost just got a glancing kiss on the yellow at the top of the table that would have just bumped the white into perfect position.
This isn't nice because the 8 ball doesn't go to top left. If he could just play this and stun across to the right hand side of the table and play that 8 ball top left, then he'd be fine. But as it doesn't go, he's really going to have to get into this cue ball. He's hampered by the cushion. Really needs to dig down into this one, get that cue ball moving. Traffic in the way as well. That is a super shot. Just slightly in between positions, but it could have landed better, but it's a great shot to get through that traffic and give himself this chance.
Yeah, that was a really good bit of cueing. There was a lot that could have gone wrong with that shot. And this is fairly comfortable ultimately. Had a choice of taking it to the corner or the middle. So, 10 frames played, still nothing to choose between the players. Neither of them can get more than a single frame ahead in this match. Scores tied back up at 5 apiece now. And what started out as a best of 13 has become a best of 3. Said a couple of times, this will be the last match of the night on this arena table, and will be the last match for the 2 players. Whoever wins can go to bed in the knowledge that they're back tomorrow to continue their campaign. Boisterous atmosphere behind, as you'd expect. Quite a few players still in action on the outside tables. Declan won the lag, so were it to go to a deciding frame, it would be he that would have that break. That may or may not become a relevant factor, depending on how the next couple of frames go. Yes, again, just the noise of it, it's just explosive as he hits the front ball.
It's brutal. And look at the yellows. I mean, not just look at the yellows, I mean, even if he breaks down, the reds are horrible. That cluster of 3 on the left-hand side. But it should be fairly plain sailing, I think. It's just the opener. It's looking now, if he can get through to the plant. I'm sure he can. Which leaves him a thin cut. I mean, it's not that thin, it's kind of a half ball. He doesn't want to play that because it just loses control of the cue ball slightly. Whereas if he can take on this plant, yeah, it's not quite there. Just needs to get a grip of the cue ball. One good positional shot. One good positional shot. And that is okay. It's not quite what he planned, I don't think, but it's okay. Be a bonus if he can see this yellow through the gap as well. He can. Definitely didn't play the land here. Must be tight because he's checking again. Maybe decided it doesn't go. He's going to go top left instead. Players often do that. You'll see them get down on the shot just to see whether it can actually go or not. Decided it couldn't.
Wasn't a crucial ball to move because he can get back to it, take the ball down the right hand side and then play it last for position onto the 8 ball.
Yeah, well, it just solved a bit of a headache if it did go though, because he's going to have to leave these 2 yellows straddle the 8 ball until last probably, I think he takes his top left. Yeah, he could stun across the one on the left-hand side. The reason he's done this is because the position from the ball on the right-hand side to the one at the bottom of the table isn't easy. The position from the one at the bottom of the table to the one on the right-hand side isn't easy. You can use the ball near the middle as a transition. So he's looking to take this and then come back and then play the one to middle next. That's why he's gone this way. If he takes the one to middle first, then he has a problem between those two balls. The red is between those two yellows, causing him a big headache. Comes right back up table, cues that beautifully well. That's just about as perfect as it could have got, I think.
Just makes the next shot so much easier, so you can get closer to it, not have to travel through too much danger.
This looks like it's tight to the knuckle, but I think the pocket's open enough that he can give this enough pace to get the cue ball across table. If not, he can just drop it in and just leave a half ball cut. Yeah, he had room to get across. Great judgment at pace.
The pattern of the frames continues. It's Declan that went ahead in the first frame of the match. It's been heavy going since then, though. Every time he looks like he might build up some kind of lead, Shaun finds a way back into it. So now Shaun that's going to have to do it the hard way. 6-5 down, would need to win both of the remaining frames. Declan, meanwhile, just needs to win one of the two.
Yeah, the problem for Shaun here is even if he does win this frame, he knows that Declan is breaking like an absolute beast at the moment. So, is he going to get a chance? He can only do what's in his gift, and that's to make this break, find a clearance, put the pressure on Declan Brennan, and hope for a chance in the last. And that shows how crucial it is to win the lag. Because the match is in Declan's hands at the moment. Doesn't take much for it to turn. Both players know from hearing they cannot afford one single mistake. They both need to play perfect pool. Any mistake and it could be curtains. He's been breaking well. He needs another one.
He's not been having any luck from the right hand side of the table, so he's switched over to the left hand side as we look at it. Well, that's better. I thought he might make some kind of adjustment. He's not normally somebody just to press on with a break that's not working. Switch sides, and this time he has made a ball.
Problem. He'd love to go yellows, but the yellow top right is a headache. So forced into reds. What's that to keep moving?
He's desperately staring at that. He just didn't want those two balls to cluster up. He's actually landed quite well. The ball to the right of the cue ball is cute, but he can clip that into the middle. Gentle cannon into the 8 ball should hold position. So it's just a question of how he deals with those two reds at the bottom of the table that he's now pushed close together.
Yeah, just use the 8 ball just to cannon the cue ball down table. A little kiss.
Although it's tight to the side cushion, the 8 ball's actually not in a bad spot. It's not covered by too much, so come the end of this clearance, it'll be easy enough to get into that area.
I think he needs to nudge those two. Well, maybe the top. If he can get through to the potting angle, the top one of those two, that closest to this rail, then he's fine. He doesn't look concerned. I was going to say, if he does need to give them a nudge, he's got the perfect ball to do it with. And he must think they go, because he would have definitely played it off that shot. That was a perfect ball to come across and give those a bit of a nudge. But he's played short position. He's got the choice. He's going to take the one to middle. He had the choice of this one, or as I say, assuming. Yeah, that top red must go. There's always a question over it for me, but it clearly must.
Well, he's landed on it about as well as he's ever going to. Could decide to take the one to the right centre first, just try and get the cue ball back to pretty much exactly where he is now. Or could play it from where it is.
Yeah, definitely has options. That's lovely. You can just run this through a few inches. I mean, he's got a couple of choices here. If he can get to it, he can screw back at it. He's just going to top through. It's tight.
Just looking at whether he's going to have to play any side to help the pot. Looks like he's pretty much aiming for the middle of the cue ball.
Yeah, he knew he was going to just glance that red on the way past. This could have been better.
If there were no yellows at the top of the table, this wouldn't be too hard a shot, but those yellows play quite big to the natural path here.
This needs a very good shot. Side cushion, top cushion, back across to that right hand side rail with traffic in the way. This is a hard shot. If he was a bit straighter on that red, it's just such a simple shot to stun across to that side of the table. Hold on to your hats. He's going in and out of bulk.
And in the knowledge, of course, that any miss could be his last in this match.
Yeah, any contact on a yellow here and he's in trouble. He's in trouble. Any kiss, any contact. Well, is that curtains? He's got a one cushion escape down table. He needs to pull off a wonder shot. Down and back. Full face of the 8-ball. Push it up over the pocket. Into the pocket ideally, but even if it went over, give him some hope. It's close. It's close.
Oh! How close was that?
And horribly for him. With that, I mean, I said if it goes over the pocket, it'll give him some hope. But actually, he's left Declan perfect on the only ball that would have given him some hope for.
What fine margins there are in this game. That miss could prove so costly.
Great effort.
Declan firmly expecting to clear up these balls at this visit. He does not want his opponent coming back to the table, because that would mean he's going to a deciding frame.
Yeah, you fear the worst. This is curtains. He's going to play top left, two cushions, top and side. He's going to take the long one. Just the angle was taking him kind of away from his work, kind of towards that 8-ball, so he's taking the long one. Commanding shot, positively, confidently struck in.
Yeah, that's the key thing, isn't it? The positivity. Very easy to quit on a shot like that, and then you lose the cue ball down towards the bottom cushion. Wow, this has been great stuff. One of those matches that it was always going to be a harsh result whoever lost it, because they've both played their part in this.
Yeah. Hard to see either player lose this game, it really is, and your heart goes out to Shaun. He will march on though. He's still in the World Championships, but no, it won't be the Masters for Shaun Storry in 2024. Declan Brennan is the defending champion, and he is into the last 16. Good game there, Mark.
Good game, good performance from Declan Brennan. He's good value for that win, but a harsh result for Shaun Storry, who really played his part in that match and clawed his way back into it, having been behind by a couple of frames at the start. That is the end of our coverage for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning, provisionally scheduled for 10:45, but follow our Facebook page to find out more timings. Thanks for your company today. We'll see you again for more tomorrow.
Good night.